for Smoke Radio. This is your home of student sound. I'm here with Ranw Aso for the Saturday Film Show. Good afternoon. The time now is 7:32 on Saturday, the 11th of March. How are you doing, sir?
I am well, Lewis. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. Thank you for coming.
It's been a while.
So, you're a Westminster alumni.
I am indeed.
Tell us first and foremost, right from the very beginning, what was it that brought you to come to Westminster in the first place to start your filmmaking endeavours?
Funny story. I did when I was at Woodhouse College doing my A levels. I was aware of a lot of the outreach work that the university does in terms of smoke media. I did actually know about smoke media when I was in my second year of college. Because a lot of the students who went from Woodhouse did go to Westminster. Some of them did for television and production, so I did know about it. And it was actually my careers advisor in 2012. She actually said to me, Ranw, this is a university you can consider going to. And I said, well, I don't know, I'll give it a shot. And that was it. The light went off. And I think it was Professor Jane Lewis. She was she was the dean for my faculty for science. She was the one who I actually spoke to on the phone, and she said, Ranw, I've looked at your GCSEs and your A-levels, it seems fine, we'll take you. And I said, all right then, and that was it. That's what brought me here.
Fantastic. So you're currently in post-production, if I'm not mistaken,
pre-production, yes, yeah.
Of an independent feature film.
That is correct.
That's correct. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that, what's kind of publicly known, and then I'm going to press you on for more exclusive details?
Sure, well, we'll see how much you can get out of me. Yes, we are currently in pre-production for a film. In terms of it being a feature film, I would like it not to be. A lot of festivals consider a feature film to be at least 45 minutes. The tricky thing about the script is that last time I checked, it's about 43 pages long. And so hopefully it will be brought down to 40. I would like it to be considered a short film. I don't think it deserves to be thought of as a feature film because it's not, it's only 43 pages long. It's not given enough time to sort of flesh out. I haven't got enough time to flesh out the details of these characters. So I don't think it would do the story justice. In terms of it being pre-production, the story itself, it takes, in order to understand it, we have to think about what happened in December. Before December, I had a conversation with the head of Year 10 at my school, Friern Barnet School, and I sort of pitched the idea briefly in passing, and I said to the head of Year 10, I said, sir, there is this idea for a film that I would like to do. However, I want to do it differently, and the way I want to do it is I want to work with your cohort, with your Year 10s, with the best you have. And the story is a sci-fi, and essentially it's about a teenager who exploits a new type of technology to travel across space and time, and in doing so he has to figure out a way to come back, and that in itself has its own ramifications. And the science in the film theoretically is true. Literally we don't know if it's true or not, but it's something that is quite fun to explore. The main character is played by a fantastic lead actor, and we have two other girls in Year 10 playing their own respective roles. They're playing two versions of each other. I don't want to talk too much about the synopsis yet. Okay. That will be something that will be made quite clear in the weeks ahead. And also when the first trailer is released, which will be just after Easter. That's the hope anyway. That's what the production plan says. But in terms of the casting, I did do the casting myself, and I auditioned around 10 students in Year 10, all of which are stellar. In the end, I filtered it down. I shortlisted it down to 3 people, 2 girls and 1 boy, because of the nature of the roles, and they are outstanding. And they know it. They seem quite modest to me, though, but we have been doing rehearsals. They had work experience this week, so we couldn't do anything, but we've pretty much got through the biggest creative challenges of the script so far.
What are those?
Well, actually, one of them is, which we haven't actually come onto it yet, but it's actually crying. It may have to be there is, for the main actor, he has a creative challenge. And that is that one of the elements of the story requires a genuine moment of him opening up to our audience. and also to us on set, because he needs to show that level of emotionality. And when I pitched this idea to him the first time, I remember him looking at me and going, "Oh, that means I have to open up." And that is quite fascinating, because the boy who's playing that character, and the character's name is Jack, he's an incredibly proficient when it comes to acting. I mean, he is so good. I have never seen a boy who's 15. I mean, come on, he's 15 years old. He's a typical, student, very, very bright. I've never seen someone so good in acting at that age. For him, it's a challenge. And that's the beauty of it. So we've been doing rehearsals every week. Costume designs have begun. We've got everything we need. And for this film, we are making spacesuits. And the spacesuits literally involve crash helmets, boiler suits, which will be padded, fattening them up with gloves, making them look authentic. And the beauty of that is we can actually, as the costume designs take place, we can actually make sure that they don't look cheesy, we want to make sure that the gloves don't look like garden gloves, things like that. And the costume design team, there are 6 people involved. I'm not involved with that, but we also have an illustrator who's helping for the sketches and designs. I have a sound supervisor, his name is Mr. Lacey, and my supervising sound editor, Mr. Pertel, as well as two sound mixers, and my sound designer as well, who's in year 9. But I picked him out. I know he's quite young. I picked him out because he was very, very good. He actually did gigs. He did one gig abroad a few weeks ago, and he's in year 9. So we are doing amazing. A lot. That is amazing.
What's it like recruiting people of such a young age who are so bright and passionate about what they want to do? And what's that like, kind of working with young people?
Fun. I'm used to it every day. It's my job. But I think in this context, it is quite interesting, because in this context, it's not about getting them into a class, teaching them. It's actually about me as a director looking at them not as minions, because they're not, but actually working with them, because they are the best of the best talent we have.
Treating them as professionals. Literally. Are they film students, or are they?
No, I don't. I think some of them study film studies. I don't know. I know one of them. She's doing music as a GCSE, but I believe they're doing drama as a GCSE as well. But it's quite exciting, because they've never had this opportunity. No school has ever done this before. No school that I'm ever aware of has ever made this kind of film before. Professor Kip Thorne, just to put that into context, Professor Kip Thorne, the executive producer of Interstellar, emailed me about 4 weeks ago wishing me well on this project, because even he shares the belief that young people should be exposed to this concept. And it's quite exciting when you put that in the medium of film. In motion picture, it's quite an exciting medium. It's a people's art. And we are, it's quite fun, and also they're very buzzed about it. When I announced it at assembly, it was quite amusing, because as I was announcing it, most of the students who I'm working with, they had no clue that I was an independent film producer. They just thought I was a typical science teacher. But it is quite fun. It's fun for them, and it's an experience that they will hopefully never forget.
That's incredible.
It is, yeah. There are 6 people doing the costume designs. One of them, she's in year 10. She's the costume designer, incredibly bright. This for her will be a first on this scale. Especially to see her, the spacesuits that she's led on the design of, shown on the big screen. That will be an experience for them that they hopefully won't forget. And it won't be the first. No, it won't be the only project I'll do. And who knows, maybe I might do another project with them or the next year 10s. But it's something that I want to continue, because as a school, we are very proud of our status. We are excellent at what we do.
That's brilliant.
But yeah, they are pretty excited. And it's quite fun, in terms of working with them, because they have ideas. I know one of the actresses, she plays the future version of a leading female character. She actually annotated and rewrote parts of her dialogue, which I thought was beautiful. I liked that. I give my actors and I give my cast that freedom to look at the dialogue, and if they want to make corrections, go ahead and do them. One of the first signs of the dialogue not being suitable is if the actor or the actress stutters. and hesitates. And that means that the dialogue needs to be rewritten so that it sounds organic. And so things like that I've experienced with them. So it is a really interesting experience.
What's your kind of budgeting and sort of distribution trajectory in terms of its, like, in terms of the scope? Like, what are we talking in terms of how you gaining like support and stuff, and in terms of, because it'll be really interesting for like the filmmakers that listen to this show.
You mean financially?
Financially,
okay.
yeah. Sort of,
okay.
how did you kind of go about getting this kind of? I assume you've got development funds and things like that, to keep it forward, keep it going forward. How did you go about doing that and stuff and drumming up interest?
Great question. Well, the majority of the money is from me, is independently funded by me. But a part of the film is also being funded by the school. When I spoke to my executive producer, Mr. Horn, he is the head teacher of the school. He had the grace to provide financial support for the film because it is an amazing experience. It is a unique experience. So that funding comes from them. And also the distribution of the film to the cinema, the Phoenix Cinema in East Finchley of North London, that is also being funded by me independently. And I have that opportunity because I've built up that financial base from previous films I've done. Not just from that though, but also, I mean, the two films I made previously, there was nothing commercial about them. But in terms of the financial prospect, that's just something that I've managed to save up for and just use it for this experience, which I just like.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that it's such a challenge, but a really exciting challenge to like embark on what could be a feature film. You never know. It might, the narrative might stretch out that long. I think.
Oh my God!
It sounds like it will. It sounds like you.
We would need more days
to
shoot that. Oh God! Hopefully not.
When are you planning to shoot it?
It is provisional. We would like to do the shooting in the last week of this month. I don't know. The main thing right now that I'm waiting for is the suits. Once the suits are ready, then I'm ready. And the cast is ready. I mean, the cast, they're pretty much there. There are still a few elements of the script I need to go over with them, which I will go over with them next week when they come back from work experience. But that's all fine. I mean, we've already, as a team, because there are about 40 people working on this project from the school. Some are teachers, majority are students, because it's very much a student-led project that I'm directing. We've already pretty much overcome a vast majority of the technical challenges and the creative challenges. The main creative challenge left is the suits. And they are, as we speak, the parts are in, everything is in. In terms of the assemblage, that all begins from next week early, and that will go into the other weeks. And, you know, we'll be working on these suits 4 times a week, 6-7 people each time. So the hope is it'll be ready for the final week of March. If not, that doesn't matter. I don't want to rush it, because if I rush it, it's going to fail, and that's not going to happen. It may very well be the last week of this month or the first week back after half term, after Easter, which would be the week beginning 14th of April. But it's when the suits are ready, then I can literally start whenever I like, and that is a discussion that I will have with those, you know, senior members of my film project, if you will, like my executive producer. You know, that's a discussion that I will then have, and that will all be confirmed in due course.
I don't know what to say. I'm really in awe of your planning and just your execution of the entire thing. It's wonderful.
It has to be planned like that, because otherwise it can fall apart. Everyone needs to know what they're doing. But yeah, it is quite exciting.
So you're directing it and producing it?
And I've written it.
And you've written it.
And I've casted it.
That's wonderful.
Well, the casting, I didn't actually, the casting was quite weird. It was quite cool, actually. I've never done it before. Because the last 2 films I've made, the first one was just me, and that was just a couple of minutes long. That was like a silent film. The second film I made was just me, literally me, and my dad and my little brother. You know, we made a longer film, and then this. So it is quite fun. It's going to be bigger, hopefully better, and that's the intention of it. But the film will be shown at the Phoenix Cinema, and you will have an opportunity to come if you want to, Lewis, with your film boffins.
Fantastic. Well, for all the listeners of Smoke Radio, and for all the viewers of Smoke TV, since we're doing a multi-platform bit of content here, how can people search it up? How can people look out for it? What do they need to look out for? Social media, promotion, anticipation? What lasting, lingering thoughts can you give to
sure.
everyone?
The film will be it's already being promoted bit by bit. as the film continues to move forward on the school's Instagram, Friern Barnet FBS_official on Instagram, and that's at the moment that's how we're promoting it. But when it gets to the point where we have a trailer, we will of course, I will provide that trailer to you, the teaser to you, and you can play that if you like, and we'll put it on the school's YouTube channel, on Vimeo.
We could do a smoke
I
TV,
think it's about
we could do a
time
live stream premiere, like a
Oh my
live.
God. Like a surprise reveal.
Yeah, like
Oh my
people wouldn't
goodness.
expect that coming. I don't know.
Well, why not? Well, actually, see, the year 10s don't know. I don't want to say it. Well, the year 10s. Okay, when the film is done, I mean, because I like to keep this I like to keep the film a secret. You know, I've told my cast, don't tell anyone. You can tell your family, fine, but even then, whatever. But you know, like I did have, yeah. But like, I don't mind it. But when the film is shot, there will be a teaser released by surprise to the year 10s. They will see it first internally before anyone does, and that will be quite.
But that's a lovely surprise, isn't it?
It will
for
be,
them?
yeah. It will be quite shocking. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. But yeah, and of course, as time goes on, and as we get nearer to the date of the premiere, of course, your radio station can promote it. We will, as a school, I will continue to promote it through the school's social media.
Fantastic. I want to kind of talk to you. So you talked about the film. I want to talk to you about kind of filmmaking techniques.
Go for it. Far away.
What sort of advice would you give to emerging filmmakers? What kind of rules, like not necessarily rules, but kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of steps? I mean, everyone's got a different path into the industry. Everyone's got a different kind of way of things. But what kind of little set of instructions would you give to people in terms of like motivational phrases to make films?
The first thing I would say is, in terms of what the rules are, there are none. For me, look, when I was at school, I went to the Compton School. The Compton is one of the best, it was an amazing time for me there. If I could go back in time, which funnily enough the film is about, if I could go back in time, I would have done something at the age of 15. I would have done some films because, you know, it's interesting. I have no professional experience in filmmaking apart from this. I never went to film school. I didn't, do any professional writing courses or anything. I literally just wanted a new hobby. This is actually what happened for me. And at the end of my first year at Westminster,
What age did it click?
What age did it click?
Yeah.
19, like you.
Yeah.
When it was the end of my first year at uni. This is summer 2013. I wanted a new hobby. I thought, I'll try, extra acting. Anyone can do that. Well, I'm absolutely useless at acting, so you'll never see me act because I can't. But then I thought, what about writing? So I literally, because I was quite naive, I literally used Word to write a script. I used a word processor to write a script, to write a story. And, I wrote something. It wasn't even a full story. It was just something. Like I had this idea for this really cool chase sequence of an action film story I had, and from that moment on, the light went off. And I thought, as time went on, I got a professional screenwriting software. I started to write scripts. I've sent my scripts off. I've been doing this for the last 2 years, and it is a really, really dreary. It can be a weary process, but the idea is to carry on. In terms of, there was a time where I actually used to think to myself, I keep writing, but I haven't made them. Because there are 3 films that you make: the one you write, the one you shoot, the one you cut.
Yeah.
And for me, it was, well, why don't I just make one then? And the first film I made, I used my iPhone. I literally just used my iPhone 6, and I just used that. Second film I made, my iPhone 6. For this film that we're doing, we're going to use proper cameras, Sony A7S cameras. We're going to use 2 or 3 GoPros, I think. We might use more cameras if we need to. So it's like, if you want to do it, just get some equipment and do it. Now, I know the equipment is expensive. You can always hire it, and that's what we're doing. But I would just say, just do it. A lot of people, it's quite interesting. A lot of people will just say, they're looking for the funding, which is absolutely understandable. I would just say to those people, carry on looking for the funding. Like me, for example, this film, it's being funded from my own pocket. And that requires a certain amount of risk, but also belief and faith. But I would say before you pick up the camera, make sure your script is good. I would say, but also be ready, and be ready to anticipate changes in your script, rewrites. That's how I work. Like even now in pre-production, the script has changed. Some elements of it have changed. But I would say, in terms of, for example, there are people who want to become directors. It's very daunting. You want to make sure you give legitimate direction on set, and it could be anything. Like you could say, like I know Tom Hanks said this once when he was being interviewed for BAFTA Guru, the YouTube channel for BAFTA. He was talking about this. He was saying you could say something as simple as to the actor or the actress on set. You could say, "Could you try something different?" And that's genuine. That's absolutely fine to say. And also, it's
then
about...
they have to think about it as well,
Yes,
rather
they
than
do.
give them those instructions of, flatter this, compliment that, and kind of those immediate emotional directions. Because there's that, which is, I don't know what the term is for that, for the directing thing. It's something, when you're not kind of telling them, giving them a question, which implies you're giving them a direction.
Yeah.
Talk about the layers of direction and stuff, because this will require directing of young people as well.
Yeah.
Some of them are good actors, as you said, and stuff, and some of them are sort of emerging into the acting, into the world and stuff. How are you going to go about, what's your kind of plan to sort of direct the young actors?
How it will work is, and we've been using our time in rehearsal to do this, we have already...
Is that spare time?
No, literally after school. On a
Okay.
Tuesday, literally after school. We have all the time we need. We use an open space in the school to do the rehearsals, to start blocking the scenes out, and actually start to plan the movements and the body language. And even I've already got my idea for the position of the cameras. And that's all. It's actually quite simple. It was quite nerve-wracking for me before we started blocking out the scenes, because I thought, is it actually going to look good? Is it going to look good, or is it going to look inauthentic? And this was picked up for one of the ending scenes, final scenes in the story. It was picked up by two of my main actor and actress, and we changed it. And it's going to continue to change until we find the right fit, and I think we already have. So it's actually quite simple. So the way I did it, for example, with one particular scene we blocked out, which actually is a sort of tense, sort of argumentative scene, which it's a scene of argument and sort of, revelation, is I would literally, using myself, I would show the actor, here's the leg movement I want, but feel free to interpret it your way and do it differently. I want you to also do this, have that posture, but imagine you're angry. Imagine you're in school and you just found out that someone has been chatting nonsense about you behind your back. How would that make you feel? And that's the emotion I want you to evoke. And then use that to confront. And the great thing about my main actor is that's quite natural for him. He can do it, and that's what makes him a good actor for this. These students, because they're so bright and they're so good, they pretty much get it. They're very intuitive. But obviously it's a new experience for them, and that's what the blocking of the scenes is. So I would basically say, here's the movement I want, try and mimic it, but adapt it, mold it, because you should know the character more than me. You're going into the mindset of that character. How is he or she going to feel? And then relate that back to how you would feel as an actor. And that's hopefully that is what the audience will feel, that connection.
Finally, for filmmakers everywhere, as an active independent filmmaker yourself, what advice would you get? There's a lot of people out there who've made films, short films, features and stuff, but they haven't got it out there.
Okay.
What advice would you say to get it out there in terms of sort of distribution, sort of independently, festivals? Because some people are nervous. Some directors don't know how to get their stuff out and stuff, and
it can be quite daunting.
they end up kind of coming within themselves and stuff, and kind of feeling so
self-destructive.
Yeah. That's the right word. Yeah. What would you kind of suggest to be outward?
Do you mean in terms of what festivals they submit to, or just what they do with their film?
What can they do with their film, rather than it kind of sitting there and them being confused,
letting it collect dust? For me, for this film, it's going to be submitted to film festivals that are affiliated with BAFTA. For example, for this film, in one of the earlier conversations I had with my cast, I did tell them, I said, for them, this film is not just going to be shown on the YouTube channel for the school, and that's it. Okay, I want the film to at least be given the chance for maximum exposure. So for me, this film that we are making, it's going to be submitted to, for example, Sundance, Raindance. When you're looking at Slam Dance and the London Short Film Festival, I would say look at the festivals, look at what they're affiliated with, and also look at their history, look at their overall ethos, their vision, what kind of films they, because different festivals may look at different types of films. I would say look at the festivals that have the biggest audience, because those are the festivals which, if your film does get accepted or screened, that can have an absolutely massive impact. That can have a massive impact. To put it into context, if you Lewis, if you make a film tomorrow, and you submit it to Sundance, that's all it takes for you to be eligible to submit your film to the BAFTAs for the following year. The British Academy, the British Film Academy, what they do is they have 2 lists in their appendix on their website for whether or not your film would be eligible for submission for the following year BAFTA ceremony. If your film is submitted to a festival like Venice International Film Festival, Berlin, I think, Sundance, Slam Dance, Raindance, all the dances, and it's accepted or screened by at least one of them, well, then your film is eligible. So that, in other words, what I'm trying to say is, if that happens, oh my goodness, because that is a breakthrough. It's obviously very competitive, but also, the beauty of filmmaking is you should never have the mindset of being award-driven or being accolade-driven, but just being driven by the story, being driven by your willingness to creatively express yourself, and that's the beauty of it. And what the paradox of that is, the irony of that is, the more you focus on that, the more you start to be recognized, and the more you start to, like, for example, I've seen your show reel, Lewis, and I've recognized it, and I liked it. I think it was quite good. So the idea is, as the more you focus on your creative, the more you focus on feeding your creative impulse, your creative urges, and not focusing on, I want an award, I want this, I want people to love it, but doing it because I love it.
It's more authentic, and if someone discovers you, they'll be like, "Oh, he was never awards-driven and stuff, but we're going to give him even more awards because he's lovely to work with." Yeah,
but not even that. But also, the more you focus on what you want to do and the story you love to not tell but show, because we show stories, we don't tell them. A script should be, is mostly description. And it's not mostly dialogue. If it is, then you're telling a story, but you should be showing the story. But the more you do that, then you start to suddenly find yourself being recognized. And that's the beauty of it. And the intention is, this, the students who are part of this project, in a way that's never been done before, they will hopefully be recognized. And they already have been by their year team. And the hope is, when they see it in our local cinema, that will be something to see for them.
Seeing something they've been a part of in a cinema.
Yeah, in surround sound, in 2K. It'll be quite cool.
That's got to be one of the best feelings in the world.
I hope it will be. For a 15-year-old, I hope it will be. Yeah. But yeah, it should be exciting for them.
Ranw, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and finding out all of these things. And this will be on Smoke Radio and Smoke TV. And I want as many people to know about it as possible.